Hi and hello and welcome to episode 34 of Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Sale Taylor, and we bring you another episode of Pro Wrestling Adjacent Talk here in the beautiful city of Albuquerque, New Mexico, right here on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Time of recording Thursday, Thursday, May the 23rd. And there is a time of airing is Thursday, Saturday, the 25th. It is the 1 year anniversary date of Duke City Championship Wrestling. Birthday bash you upside your head over at the historic El Rey Theater. Doors at 5 o'clock, showcase 5:30. First bell, 7 o'clock. Big announcement today at the time of recording. Leah Black, the famed, will be singing our national anthem to celebrate Memorial Day the proper way. And then we are underway with a world of pro wrestling excitement. Sale, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
I'm moving. I'm grooving. I'm grateful. How you doing? How you feeling, Fred Slow?
I never complain, my man, and I'm so fortunate. The world of pro wrestling has just been pretty stellar over the last several months here in town, and there's a resurgence, a lot of shows going on all the time, and I think a thing that I'm most very proud of is how the community has absorbed it. We had a real nice write up in the paper the other day talking about the show. We're in agreement on a deal with the NWA for they to come out, and that's a big deal to us because Billy Corgan's organization has a lot of talented dudes. And then lastly, with the state fair coming up and a lot of shows, there's just more now than ever, and to be able to be a part of it is really special to me.
That is actually big, man. Congratulations on the 1 year. For those who are watching live, yes, this is the Thursday before, but when this airs, this will be the 1 year anniversary of DCCW. Very strong. There's been a lot of great a buzz. And we're
Yeah,
kicking it old school, baby. There's been a buzz being featured in the paper. And also with I believe Caged Minds just released
Decades
an
Minds
article.
put out a real
Uh,
nice one, and that's the fun thing that's going to be about the event is we're going to do a little retrospective of the year. We're going to do it in review, and then like we regularly do, we're going to have a lot of fun twists and stories, and people in attendance will enjoy it. At the time of this recording, this is right now the most at least tickets sold to an event that Duke City Championship Wrestling's ever had. So there'll be more people in attendance on a Memorial Day weekend, and how fortunate we might be to have created a tradition here. Obviously, we did this last year as well. And if this can be a reason to keep people home, for the holidays, and we can be a part of their family traditions for a lot of years to come, how much fun that is, how much grace.
This is a beautiful thing, man. We're helping to reestablish, professional wrestling in
Yeah,
Albuquerque, in New Mexico, and giving people a sense of home. Uh, uh, Also, man, let's be honest, man. Y'all gave me a beautiful take and very beautiful sense of home myself, and I cannot thank y'all enough for that. Last year around this time is when we first met, and who'd have thunk, man, that a year later, man, we'll be doing something like this, and you'll be, just working your butt off and just continue to just do it is what you can, man. Uh,
yeah.
so I'm
Well,
grateful for y'all.
and the changes in our lives along the way, as well, and we'll talk about that at length, which is the multitude of people, the different personalities, the different types, the different approaches, the different backgrounds, and how they've all been able to come together and create something really cool, and that you can be really proud of. And that's Duke City Championship Wrestling. Big event this upcoming Saturday, which at the time of terrestrial airing is tonight. That's DCCWtickets.com. If you're a fan of me on this program, Saleh on this program, or the Two Men On program, which I host Monday through Friday with Van Nunley, come on and say hello. It's a big deal to us. We don't so often get a chance to always talk to everyone who appreciates our work, and we appreciate that fandom. So please come and be a part of it. Keep in mind, and we say this every time we do this program, I am a co-owner of Duke City Championship Wrestling. Therefore, making a purchase at Duke City Championship Wrestling, or if you go to shop DCCW and buy something from the Albuquerque Dukes, that money goes into Daddy's pockets. I get that money, it becomes mine, and then I reinvest it into the world of pro wrestling. It's like a big co-op, Solly. It's like a huge co-op of pro wrestling.
I love it. I'm with it. I support it. And as long as people, you're supporting others and just keeping us going, man. It's a tricky line, man. But we're doing this thing for the people, and
Yeah.
I cannot thank the people enough for
Well,
responding.
No, and that fan base is so energized right now. We see it obviously in person with the hundreds of people who show, and the social media is very active that surrounds it. It's been kind of a fun narrative. 1 year ago today, the conversation was, "Oh my God, pro wrestling is back in a professional sense, and a licensed sense. There've been a lot of programs that were running without the state's approval, and we kind of jumped through all those hoops, which I think 1 year later, it's the exact same narrative for me. It's a lot. It's a little too much, even if you ask me. The cost is too high. The jurisdiction is too high. I don't recognize pro wrestling as a sport. I recognize it as theater. That's a conversation for another time. But there have been so many back of the house conversations with people in leadership roles about making changes in that world, and hopefully that comes. We have through the rest of this calendar year to really set us up for success in 2025, and if we can do that, excellent. And if that only makes the point of entry that much easier for other individuals, because right now a little bit by the state, it's gatekeeped a little bit, and I don't think that's fair or righteous to anyone else who's trying to do this thing. So anyway, so super proud about that approach. And then, like I said, with the fan base, that conversation, Saleh, 1 year ago was, oh my God, that we're so excited. This is the best thing ever. I can't believe it. And then before you know it, we're 6 months into this thing, and we're looking at the holidays, and it's, has Duke City Championship Wrestling jumped the shark? Is there, are they over? If it's not Hobo Hank, it's nobody, and it was, these are the conversations that, 3 months from there, it's, these are the 10 things Duke City Championship Wrestling has to do to remedy the mistakes they made. Now, here we are a year later, and it's a year in retrospect. It's had a handful of highs, but so many lows, and you're like, what is this narrative? Like, how did this things change? And I was having this conversation off air, and you can kind of lean in wherever you think it's appropriate. It's the New Mexico audience is real interesting because, and I'll use Sadie's as an example. Sadie's is a sponsor of Two Men On. I just want to be very clear on that. We broadcast live every Thursday from Sadie's. Sadie's has had the exact same menu for the entire existence of anyone in New Mexico. You go to Sadie's, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get nostalgia. You're going to get the food you got the first time, and you're going to get that familiarity. And I think that is where I was confused in the world of pro wrestling with some of like the changes and innovations, and if it's production or talent or incorporation of other groups or whoever, that's one that I wasn't super smartened up on, because I was like, well, we'll forever keep evolving. We'll forever keep adding twists and adding the NWA and going to Clovis and going to Las Cruces, and hey, let's work with a partnership with the promotion Steel City and Pueblo, and let's make sure all these guys are doing things. But the fan base, they have this idea, Saleh, and I know I'm on a diatribe right now. They have this idea that, well, this isn't KC Hall wrestling the way I know it. This isn't at the Armory. This isn't what I'm familiar with. What are you guys doing? It's too big. It's too bright. It's not the thing I fell in love with years ago. The interesting part, it's the thing that kids are falling in love with today.
Now,
and it's
the beautiful thing, I love that you're talking about the kids. A lot of the people who are watching, DCCW now, who are showing up to all of the events, have followed and who are part of the story of New Mexico professional wrestling and sports entertainment.
yeah,
And a lot of them started as kids themselves.
yeah,
And as we are currently the product of the new generation, giving them something that they can build like core memories around. How is it that you feel that you're how good or bad or decent, or have you been able to reflect? Yeah, I know that you were kind of like
yeah.
throwing that out a little bit. How have you have you been able to reflect and like see the role that DCCW as a whole has been taking on to this fan base? Because we are now, you know, we're currently a generation in now.
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think like anything I've ever done professionally, I take 1 year. I got to learn. I have to
Mhm,
learn, and there's so many aspects to this thing. How fortunate I am to know a ton about radio. How fortunate I am to know a ton about TV. How fortunate I am to know a ton about print advertising. And it's not glossy magazines like it used to be. You know what I mean? But it's still a medium. And with that said, how little I knew about
mhm,
pro wrestling, how little I knew about performers, how little I knew about the gorilla or the back of the house, or how little I knew about ring maintenance or owning equipment or contracts with venues. I guess I knew a little bit about, but there's 1 year of just gathering knowledge. And now that we have it, how fortunate we are, you and me and everyone involved in this thing, to be able to take that knowledge and apply it to what we're doing. And hopefully down the road, and you're talking about those kids, and that's exactly where I'm going with this. That feedback that I do get from families, and I do get from those in attendance, that this is a really special thing, and the nostalgia of it for maybe it's 30 or 40-year-old guy with his 10 to teenage-year-old son or daughter, and how much they enjoy it, and those stories you're telling me, those are the net overwhelming positives that are coming through. Now the detractor, that's a different conversation. The detractor, which is real interesting to me, because it's the exact same idea every time, and this is not the thing I loved when I was 13.
There we go.
And I get it. I super get it. Like and that's not the idea behind this. And you know what else that's true about? Major League Baseball and the NHL and the NBA and the NFL. And there's this idea that your favorite song, when you were at a point where your brain was maturing and absorbing media and identifying your quote unquote favorite things in life, which by the way, my brain doesn't work that way, Sally. I do a tier system.
Okay.
I don't have a best friend. I have a tier level of friends. I don't have a favorite dinner. I have a tier level of dinners that I like. It's that kind of concept. And with that said, that's the exact same comment we're getting from everyone. And unfortunately, those individuals that are giving us that feedback, they're not all 45. Like, I can't just take this thing back 23 years ago and be at the perfect age you want us to be. They're all. So the idea is like, being able to be a part of this narrative that we're telling and help those kids today grow that exact same passion and opinion that they have when they were young and nostalgic. It's wild to me.
So the product itself, like the concept of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, is evolving, but it seems like right now there seems to be a bit of resurgence or a renaissance or callback to that of like the late 90s attitude era, especially the attitude era where they're blending blending the line between reality and what's considered a work and stuff, and trying to like give you something that feels real and more organic type of stuff. Where do you think DCCW falls in line with that? Like, what kind of stories do you see us planning on going from here, or what kind of a direction do you see DCCW going from here?
I think it's like a lot of forms of media where it's going to be underwritten content. I think that's a big part of it. And I think traditionally when you think of that, the following program is paid advertising. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the idea of this is, who's that going to be? Is that going to be the NWA? Is the NWA going to have a rich voice and kind of the direction that we're going in? Like, I don't know. Could be exciting. We're and I see it in the live chat with us. We have an intergender story this month. We had talked early on about not doing that. There was like a stigma. We thought about that. We went down to Las Cruces, had a lot of success with it, and we said, well, let's do that. Mickey Knuckles is making her debut at Duke City Championship Wrestling this Saturday.
Mickey Knuckles.
Yeah, Saturday night, if you're listening to this live on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. And what that is, it's it's the evolution. It's the evolution of it. And those barriers, and here's a good comment from friend of the show, Gabe. These barriers are fun to knock down if you do them tastefully, and if you do them with class. There's not a shock value here. This is outside of Jacob Fatu. We joke about it. Very family friendly programming.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about that still.
And that's the growth of it. So we're going to keep moving forward with it. We're going to keep telling a lot of really neat stories. Hopefully we start to get to the point where we can kind of intertwine them all, and there's rich payoffs down the road. But not only, as you and I do the broadcast, moving forward, we no longer mentioning, hey, this is the first matchup between those two guys. People have done this before with each other. People have done, Tommy Two Scoops about to fight Mexplex. They fought before. They do it really well, and they tell a really good story every time. And it's going to go really well. And whatever happens after this is going to birth from this story, and that's the thing I'm proud of. I'm proud of continuity. I'm proud of direction. And I'm proud of the organization as a whole, every single performer that's been a part of it, every single fan that's enjoyed it. And hopefully the direction we're going in is going to be full of support and love because awesome. Let's do this, LA. Let's step away. Let's come back. We'll talk a little bit about the card tonight. We'll try to get people excited for it. And you have a big wrestling weekend yourself. We'll talk about that. It's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow. Alongside me, Saleh Taylor, my broadcast partner, co-host, and top-tier friend. Saleh, how are you?
I'm moving. I'm grooving. I'm grateful,
Good.
and I'm feeling groovy. How about yourself? So, I love that you say that. You're always regular. You
Yeah,
recognize that you're in a blessed time of your life, but
very fortunate.
you also like still call it blessed when you're going through some heavy stuff. But like you count yourself fortunate.
Sure.
Um, I can't imagine the stress of having to keep a monthly episodic
Mm,
show going because it's one of those things like you ask any mother, all right, I got 9 months of carrying and growing this thing in me, and then I give birth to it. Oh gosh, I have a tiny little thing to take care of now and still keep it going.
yeah.
I feel like this first year is just us learning how to where we are as a company. We're bringing in performers that have been doing this for a while, and God willing, they'll continue to do it. Um, but everyone has their own story, has their own skill set that they're bringing to the table, and um, but everyone's still feeling each other out. And as a company, I was wondering, like, where do you think you see us, like how we're jiving? Are we gelling, or even like we're still feeling a bit of the growing pains?
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because I own two businesses, right? Duke City Championship Wrestling and Talk ABQ, which is Two Men On, which you hear Monday through Friday
Hmm.
here on the Sports Animal. And I've never been afraid of that. I've never been afraid of the idea of starting a thing. And what I feel that I do, a good sports analogy as a good coach, is I feel like I put our best players in our best position. Now, the thing that I have found more difficult in the world of pro wrestling that I have in radio or otherwise, you are very familiar with. I do a lot of fundraising too.
Yes.
The the thing that I found most perplexing to me in the world of pro wrestling, and maybe I should have leaned on you earlier for this with your history in theater and your history in film and your history in acting and performance, is as not just myself, but the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling identifies talent. What we identify as the best place for that talent, that's not necessarily what they identify for themselves. So
Ooh.
we will bring individuals in and we say, hey, I'll give you an example. I'll bring in a guy like Saleh Taylor. And I'm like, hey, Saleh, I got this gimmick idea. This is a absolute true story. I got this gimmick idea. I want you to do all the social media stuff. I kind of want you to be the doofy throwback kind of pressy guy. Like you come in and just make the world that's not in the El Rey jealous that they're not in the El Rey. And you come in and you do a banger job on the first time you ever do it, and then you say, "Hey, man, I might be a little better suited for the broadcast." I say, "Okay, how wrong I was then. Let's explore that thing." You come on the broadcast. Also, we move some parts around, and like a natural. You know what I mean? Your best fit was not the fit that we thought originally, and how quickly we learned from that. But your approach to it is the thing you strive for in the world of not just professional wrestling, but all sports. The
Hmm.
thing and forgive me if it's condescending to say I think it's theater than a sport, but I guess what I mean is a team. And how fortunate we are that you, as a professional, came and say, "Hey, with a level mind, you're wasting my talents, Randy." And I said, "Oh, okay. Like, let's go. Let's incorporate you." And that's so drastically different than a hey, historically this has been the standard, and I'm very close to what that standard was. Therefore, we're going to do it the old head way. No, no, we're not. We're going to do it the move forward way. We're going to this is so super inside wrestling, but we're going to regularly create promo pictures. We're going to regularly take this approach to social media. This radio show right here, the real show that we do, the interactive stuff that we do. This I don't see done anywhere else. There is a promotion in Denver that's doing a really good job, but I don't see this literally anywhere else. And do I know if it's successful? No, I don't. But do I think it's failing? No, I don't. So that's what I mean, Saleh, to
Yeah.
where when putting these things together, you find the right people you can trust, and then from there you hand off. We have the guy that runs our gorilla. His name's Kevin. He's tremendous. And when he started, he wasn't. He was not tremendous. He did not do well. And he said, "But I got this. Like, let me put in the work. Let me figure it out." And he's the best in the business. And there's a lot of that kind of success and all those individual stories. Rusty Rutherford, the photographer. Notice I haven't named a pro wrestler. Like, these are all guys who are adjacent to the industry Rusty Rutherford is as good at action moments as a photographer as anyone I've ever seen.
Good God, yeah, he is.
Well, it's not the first time he did it. Like there's all kinds of like gross stories like that.
I love it. I love it. This beautiful thing that we have growing. I know that there's a showcase getting ready to start off. That's
Yeah.
around 5:30, featuring the Prime
Yep.
Athletics. For those of y'all come in early, check them out. It's gonna be some just good old wrestling and stuff. But that's a showcase in one of the schools. We also have we also have our own school of guys that's
Yeah.
just training. Where we're going to see more of us coming up, homegrown guys coming in. But let's just also talk about like how excited we are that there's just more professional wrestling happening within the region itself.
Yeah. Well, and
You know,
like you said, Amarillo, which Amarillo has been running forever.
yeah,
Amarillo, we've talked about this before on the show, is the linchpin of pro wrestling in the West. Amarillo having a promotion is a huge deal, and Albuquerque travels out there. You're going to travel out there this weekend and see what's going on. Kind of, get an eyes on that thing, and that's going to be a really cool experience for you. How does a travel day work for you in the world of pro wrestling? Is it rise early? Or are you riding with a friend? Kind of walk me through it.
I think we're going to do a bit of a caravan,
Okay.
multiple vehicles, and just we're going to get there and just hold each other accountable safely together.
Yeah.
For me, usually I'm used to just hitting the road by myself
Yeah.
and just go. But I do enjoy sharing the time and sharing the road with several people. Whoever wants to go with me. That always helps out. As you know, like I'm acting. I used to. Like I remember 2019 was the busiest year I've had, where I would literally be here on set and then be called for something back in LA. So I love driving. So I made that 12-hour drive back to LA and back here. I made that drive like 10 times
Yeah.
in 2019 because I loved it. I enjoyed it. Get up early, hit the road, get home late. Um, but this one, Amarillo's four hours away. I'm getting ready to go check out OXW, Outcast Extreme Wrestling. I'm really excited to see. That's where Mickey Knuckles will be in the night before. She
Correct.
comes to DCCW. She's going to have an amazing match with Moshpit Mike, and then she's going to come out to DCCW and just have another fight because that's just what they do, man. I'm really excited to see this happen and come into fruition. Not just that, I believe next weekend was it Phoenix reached out to you, but I know that they're going to have a show, the PCW, Phoenix Championship Wrestling. Not just that, there's also Steel City up in Colorado. A lot of our DCCW guys are going out there. Like I was telling you, the people that we have working, everyone who's been familiar with the New Mexico lineage of professional wrestling, like a lot of these guys have been wrestling for a while, and we're grateful
Yeah.
for the time that they put aside to share time with us at DCCW. So, but we're going to have several guys just hitting the road again.
Well, and that's part of the culture of it. Work as much as you can everywhere that'll have you. And June 1st, following our show, so obviously May 25th, time of this airing, it's our anniversary show. And then June 1st, like you said, Steel City and Pueblo, and then Phase 1 Pro Wrestling in Rio Rancho. There's just a lot in the culture right now. There's a lot in the world of it. And that's excellent. I went to I think you're aware of this. I'm a licensed promoter in the state of New Mexico. I went to a state athletic commission meeting earlier today. And at that commission, there are people trying to put shows in that aren't getting approved. It's to the point to where moving forward, all these individuals have to have their T's crossed and their I's dotted and move forward with the intent of doing it the way it's governed until that governmentship can be changed, which in my opinion would be a benefit to the sport, but I'm not one to self-sabotage. So you want to
Yeah.
maintain that. You had asked an interesting question earlier about the monthly show, and it was about the stress level of it. And I do the daily sports talk radio show on the Sports Animal. I'm in like my 20th year, brother. Like I'm in like my 21st year of this
You
thing.
look amazing for 72, man.
You're kind. You're really kind. And being a part of this thing, stress is not a factor in my world. The stress is not a word that I ever use because I don't think I know it as people identify it. What I'm
Hmm.
very familiar with is expectations, and I set them not just for myself but the people who surround me. And what I'm very familiar with are goals, which I set for myself and the people around me, and how much I enjoy that pursuit. So stress is not the word. Excitement is the word. Anticipation is the word. And then afterwards, this is the creepiest part. I think we've talked about this off the air. I don't think we've talked about it on the air. After something goes well, I don't necessarily celebrate it. It's more
Yeah.
of a relief. Like I
Yes.
don't have that explosion of emotion. I have that exhale of a job well done. And I don't think that's mentally very healthy at all.
So that's something that, as we talked about this off air, uh, we have to be better about being present in the moment, on
Yeah.
taking in those moments when things go well, even when they go bad, because we're always thinking ahead. We're always like have so many other wheels turning on things. Because usually when people are coming up to you, when they're coming up to me, that means something needs to be fixed. So before they even start talking, your mind's going, what's wrong? What could be wrong? How can we fix this? What's going on? What stores open? What vendors open? Right? Like that's automatically how our minds work. So when they say, "Oh, that was a great job," you're like, "What? Really? What? Yeah, but we have this next one coming up. We have this
Yep.
next meeting coming up. We have, we got to make sure people get paid. We got to make sure, like, you know, like, yeah. So we should do let's do better, man. We got to do better.
There's an interesting part of that too, right? Because and I think we've talked about this too. You park your car at the show, and for pro wrestling, it's at the venue, and like I said, you throw it into park, and the key comes off, and the dashboard lights die, and you take a moment, and you say, "Hey, Fred Slow, you did really good today, getting ready. Fabulous Freddie Fame, the last professional promoter, punch in." Because from the second you're walking from the car, that's where the eyes are there, and then from there, it's all the perception of you up until, and then and I think you'll hear this feedback a lot, specifically the longer we correspond with each other. And I've heard it in radio for a lot of years, but you hear this when you say, "Hey, really good product. Like he makes it look like a NASCAR. He sells the crap out of it. He's not my energy. He's never done me wrong. Like he's never taken from my plate. But he doesn't do it the way I would do it." And that is a thing that has been like a torment for me professionally, because I think I've seen, and that's why we're doing pro wrestling in the first place. Because whenever I saw pro wrestling a year ago, I guess longer than that, 2018, I think, is when the previous promotion ended. That might not be exactly correct, but I think that's kind of correct. When I was sitting down with Aaron Burnett and I said, "Hey, let's start an event company to do stuff," we looked for the thing that wasn't being done. It came down to pro wrestling or a wiffle ball league. That's a very real conversation. Like we were going to start a wiffle ball league where I was just going to get grown men to drink beer and play wiffle ball.
Why aren't we doing that already, man? What?
I'm busy with pro wrestling. I met with the ice. This is all super public now. I had met with the Isotopes about getting Isotopes Park and throwing big ass wiffle ball tournaments and just enjoying life. And I was like, but I love pro wrestling. I want to give pro wrestling a shot. I want to go to this thing. So anyway, when we come back to that stress factor, right?
Yeah.
So the learning part is the hardest part for me. I think this is true for everyone. It's learning new people, it's learning new personalities. And the thing I'm really struggling with is the things that I have a lot of strength in and that I can communicate well, they're hard. So they're like, I'm talking about perception, right? This YouTube, I also work for WWE, right? This YouTube program is seen by the biggest names in the game. Billy Corgan and the NWA is not accidentally here. This is like, and then those conversations come. Somebody calls, and I've never lied. I've never lied about anything professionally in my life. Somebody calls and say, "Hey, tell me about Sale Taylor." And I say, used to be able to wrestle real good. He's going to figure it out again. Super good on a microphone. Looks the part. Has never seen a mirror that he hates. Like I can say all those things in confidence about you. But if you're not those things, if there's a level of like say someone calls me like, "Hey, Freddie, you think you could put 5,000 people in the Rio Rancho Event Center and do a knockdown maker show for this specific individual?" Not yet. We're not there. Can't lie about it. Yeah. But then I'll like flub, right? We'll make mistakes. So we have a big battle royal tonight at the time of airing on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports channel, where I put out this poster and it's all of our previous male competitors that we've ever had, right? And my verbiage in the post is bad. It should say which of these previous performers are going to make the show. But I leave it out because I'm dumb and I'm moving fast. So then Kyle, the ref, calls me and he's like, "Hey, brother, I don't think this sounds the way you think it sounds." I go back through it. And I'm like, "Oh, you're so smart. You're so right." I'm not mad at myself now for doing that. Like, accidents happen, mistakes happen.
Yeah.
You just move forward.
Yeah.
So with that said, we're always going to move forward in the world of pro wrestling. Also, if I can get these guys to play wiffle ball, oh my gosh, like we're going to be champs. We're going to be super champs out here. Lastly, before we go to break and come back and preview the card, Sally, I met with Albuquerque Roller Derby.
What?
Yeah. Me and Fernando went to the roller derby event. There is a entire audience of just the funnest, weirdest, like quirky, left of center, definitely not right of center. Don't say that over there. Individuals that laugh and play and enjoy the slapstick existence that you and I are a part of professionally. And how very excited I am that we're going to try to move forward on an idea of combining these two super weird things into one night of fun entertainment. And speaking of the Rio Rancho Event Center, don't be surprised if we're sitting on top of a roller derby pro wrestling extravaganza before summer's end, because these girls and gals and theys and thems, it was excellent, brother. I don't know if you've been to roller derby, but take the time.
Let's go. I'm with it. I need to check this out now. I need to go to any of your meetings.
I should invite you to this stuff. Me and Fernando walk in, and Fernando goes, "These are my people."
Yep.
Oh, it's going to be roller jam all over again, says friend of the show, Gabe. Not wrong.
Not wrong.
Like, hey, and that was the thing too. I thought it was all gimmick. I went to the thing and I was like, oh, they're going to be doing like flips and quips and jumps and dumps, and I was like, it's going to be that. It was not, dude. This was legitimate. Like,
it was a shoot.
Like, it was shoot roller derby. It was crazy. Let's preview the card whenever we get back from the break of the Big Duke City Championship Wrestling 1-year anniversary show. Keep in mind, I'm in the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling. If you are purchasing a ticket at DCCWtickets.com, any apparel, anything that's licensed by us, that does come back to me. I will then have it. I want you to know so that you're not confused on what we're presenting here. It's going over at 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Hey, just heads up, I have to legally say that on the radio. I don't know if I've ever told you that.
No, you did. And
yeah.
I don't, that's why I don't ever interrupt you ever.
There are like FCC rules. They're like, you can't promote a thing you own without telling people you own it. Like, and that's like a real law. Like, okay. Like
that's like the full disclosure thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Duke City Warrior says we need more sweet apparel on the site. You know what? That's true. I don't know, because we have a bunch of cool stuff now. We have like weird hoodies and jackets and hats, and
we need our own stuff, man.
Yeah. You want your own? What do you want? You want like a vest or something? I know how you are.
Oh,
we're going back to radio. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I'm Fred Slow, your Sally Taylor, and we are talking about the Big Duke City Championship Wrestling anniversary show coming up this weekend. Doors open at 5. It is a showcase of Prime Wrestling at 5:30. They got a bunch of, I'm going to use the word trainees, that are learning the ropes, literally, of pro wrestling, and they've gone out and done some street team stuff, and they've got a bunch of their friends and family excited. They had a special like ticket code because it's also a fundraiser for their school. So that's the awesome idea is, yeah, it's such a cool concept. It's a thing I came up with years ago on radio while running promotions. And the idea is, hey, I don't want to give you my money. I don't want to take your money. Like that is not how this thing works. But what we can do is get some people that maybe aren't familiar with our product excited about it through showcasing you, and that's why it's called a showcase. So Prime Wrestling Showcase at 5:30. It's going to be the whole thing, lights and sounds and TV. They're going to get the whole experience. So super excited for and then we're on to the main card. And the main card, Sally Taylor, starts off with a battle royale for the
Hold on.
Oh, go ahead.
Before we dig into this, I just got to do a big old shout out to our refs. Our referees have been killing it in rotation with 3, and Kyle the ref, who's been sees himself as the lead ref for DCCW, and you know what?
Yeah.
Nobody's told him otherwise. Like, I don't think he'll hear it anyways. He's very tall. It's a tall joke, guys.
Yeah,
We also have Jeff the ref, who's a very great presence in there, and then you also had
I
Don
agree.
Cisco, who we love and we appreciate.
Unsung
Who
heroes.
you know we just want to say we appreciate our refs. We appreciate Charles so much.
But we hate them so very deeply.
he just
I just don't understand how they don't see you every time you're by the ring. Blows my mind. I don't get it. Let's go on to the
oh
car.
man,
Francisco says, "Hey, don't forget me." He's literally the last one you said. He was the
I
bookend.
just did.
He's the bookend.
Don
That's cool.
Cisco.
Yeah.
I got love for you. I love giving you those hugs every time I see you in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Those are fun, man. Those are really great, beautiful hugs, man.
It's the battle royale for the Route 66 championship. This is going to be a big deal one for me. We've been talking about bringing in a second title for some time. The first one we did through a traditional tournament, which I really liked. I thought it was really smart. And then this one, it was, well, what can we do? We got one big event. Let's do one big interaction. And the battle royale for the Route 66 championship, it could have any amount of former competitors. Saleh, who do you believe might be the guy during the Route 66 Battle Royale to start the show? Do not be late. This is going to be the coolest thing.
I don't mind seeing our current champ Thunder making an appearance and walking out with 2 titles on the night. You know, yeah, I'm rooting for the champ El Campeón. Thunder. That's a
If
safe
he
bet.
is, and here's the thing: it's up to his discretion if he's in. So there's no roster to announce. Got to be there in person and on time to see that thing start. So
This is
do that
first match after first bell.
match. Yeah,
After Leah Black sings. Okay.
correct. Yeah, this is one of the ones that is the one. Also, I think homies are tailgating out back. You know, those dudes, they'll probably start at like 10 a.m. So show up early. And I don't know, maybe we get like, we need volunteer referees or something. Like there's going to be a lot going on in this one. So how exciting
Also,
it's
by the way, my second choice is the Livest Mexplex. I would love
he's
him to
wild.
see. I would love to see him as the Bruce 66 champ as well. That would be my very very close second. If El Campeon wants to only focus on his match, the Livest Mexplex has my vote.
We traveled down the card. Eliza Hayes versus Angelica Riss. She's holding the Nightmare Factory Women's Championship, and it is on the line, my friend, in a best 2 out of 3 falls match between these two competitors. They have fought before. Angelica Riss currently undefeated against Eliza Hayes at 1-0. What do you expect to see from these two ladies?
We're going to see a fight. Every time these two meet together, they just go at it as if they stole each other's man. Like it's insane. They there's respect outside of the ring, but once they hear the bell, something switches and they just go at it, man. It's insane.
Yeah, Eliza Hayes, who's now a New Mexico native, she absolutely loves it. The returning Angelica Riss from the Duke City herself. It's going to be fun to see those two battle. I would be very surprised if Angelica Riss gets the best of Eliza Hayes 2 times in a row. And if that Nightmare Championship stays in New Mexico, I would be okay with that. El Diablo Blanco takes on Chris Watson. These two Texans had to travel to New Mexico to do that thing. Who do you got in this one, Saleh?
El Diablo Blanco, man. That dude. I got to see him work recently, actually out of town, and he hurts people, man.
Mm-hmm.
He just hurts people. So like, I'm all for that. Chris Watson, this seems to be a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he feels like we haven't seen him in his final form.
I agree completely.
But El Diablo Blanco just wants to hurt someone, and I'm glad it's a fellow Texan. Keep that mess with them.
I'd love to see Chris Watson beat up on the returning El Diablo Blanco. As you guessed it, La Miagra returns to Albuquerque. So that's going to be a heck of a battle. And then it is what I think is going to be the highlight of the night. It is Chewy Martinez versus Mickey Knuckles. This
Whew.
is the Duke City Toys match. You know, these two individuals battle hardcore across this great country, famed in the Midwest specifically, and they're out here doing as close to a version of hardcore wrestling as that we could create.
I'm just, I hope parents give their kids the talk that, hey, Mickey Knuckles is coming to town. You might have to avert your eyes, or
Yeah.
you're gonna have to grow up a little bit for this match.
She
You
has a
know,
style that is unique, I think is fair. And I was when we were creating the promo stuff for her, I couldn't find a photo without her just covered in blood. Like she's that type of competitor. So Duke City Toys is bringing you, and we're so very excited about this, the birthday present match. We've also encouraged fans of Duke City Championship Wrestling, bring a toy, and we'll incorporate it in the match. I have not seen inside the toy boxes yet, but I believe you and I will have as much fun broadcasting this as anyone has ever had broadcasting anything.
I
Also,
can't wait for this.
I think it's non-DQ, so that's going to be weird.
Oh, it better be.
Better be. Tyler Copeland versus Turbo Tony, and this is in the All Fast MVD match. It's a new format that we're introducing at this event where our competitors have but 5 minutes, Saleh, to battle. It will be a from the start of the bell to the final bell, which will come at 5 minutes. If you have not pinned or submitted your opponent, that match is over. There is no more running from Turbo Tony the way Tyler Copeland has historically been known to do it.
So, will there be like a countdown clock on the Tinytron?
Yes. Yeah.
Starting from 5 on down, and the boys have
Yep.
5 minutes to just.
Yep.
And is it like no DQ, or is it like all rules
No,
are
it's
enforced?
it's the most traditional wrestling match of all time, but with a 5-minute time limit. Keep that thing fast between Tyler Copeland and Turbo himself, Tony.
Does that countdown start from their entrance?
No, at the bell.
At the bell. Woo, this is gonna be all fast, huh? I know, man.
All Fast MVD. Thank you to they for being a proud match sponsor. I think Tyler Copeland has no shot whatsoever. He does not know how to move quickly. And Turbo Tony's name is literally Turbo.
Well, Tyler Copeland will need a couple to a few days to acclimate to the higher elevation here. He's coming from St. Louis, and that's lower elevation. I believe it's sea level. And anyone traveling into Duke City or even going up to Steel City, just know that you're breathing 20% less oxygen than you usually are in your wherever
it's only
coming from.
It's only like 450 feet at St. Louis. It's very low. Also, it's lower in education. It's lower in all kinds of things. The best guys just leave there. That's what I understand. That's my understanding.
But I wouldn't count Tyler out though.
Moving forward throughout the night, it's Mexplex with Jay Sizzle taking on Tommy Two Scoops Test. This one is a big one. These guys have locked up several times. No love lost between the two. I just can't imagine Jay Sizzle not trying to screw this thing up. This should be a go home between these guys as they've just battled for so long. I want to see Tommy Test triumphant on the anniversary of Duke City Championship Wrestling, and I want to see that fan base that does come to support him be able to celebrate over Mexplex.
I don't know. The livest Mexplex got a clean pin over Two Scoops right now, and he's got some great momentum coming in, following him. So, hopefully you will see him walking out with a Route 66 champ, walking in with the championship belt, going against Two Scoops, and show him a big old what for, man.
Valak Vile and Jerry Vendetta take on Fonzie and Enrique Delgado in tag team wrestling. This is going to be a fun one. Delgado can't seem to find the perfect partner. Valak Vile can't seem to escape the world of tag team wrestling. We've seen it multiple months in a row now. Will the winner ever be Valak Vile, or is he destined for a world of destitute in tag team?
Well, the cool thing about magic is magic wherever you go, wherever you take it to. And so I believe that Valak Vile will pull off whatever he can. He always has something up his sleeves. So I wouldn't count Valak Vile out, But I'm just a personal fan of Valak Vile anyways, man. So
as far as unique characters in the world of pro wrestling, he is one that is noticed. He is one that people see him and say, this is a guy who has a regular life so that he can live this life. Like he is very tremendous. And then we wrap up the night, and this is, to me, just really good storytelling. Again, the return of La Migra, Charlie 50 with Veronica Vega and Thunder and Matthew Robles. So there's going to be a lot of chatter around the ring, taking on Hobo Hank and a mystery tag team partner. Hobo Hank has been up against Thunder, really since October in the betrayal at the ladder match. This is not an official match for the championship. Matthew Robles said so on social media, as he didn't feel Thunder had to defend it because he defended it twice last month with the spot pop-up match against Johnny Manga. Give me your opinion, Saleh, and who's going to come out on top.
I don't know if Hobo Hank can walk out with this one on his own 2 feet. He's facing a very, 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 very tall hill. And Lamigo coming in with not just motivation. They're coming in with a lot of heat, man. They just want to come back here and make a statement. Anytime they're back here in New Mexico, they just want to let people know, remind people that they are here to make moves, to just leave knowing that they made a statement.
Yeah. After the event ends, my friend, we all walk about 20 feet to the east side of the building, and we go over to Inside Out, where we have a super fun DJ going to be doing the after party. We're going to hang out until they kick us out. We're going to celebrate the year. It is going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of successes, I believe, will be shared amongst everyone there in the fan base in attendance. So please hang out for the after party mixer. Saleh, what a banger. What an absolute banger of an episode of Going Over, and how excited we are for Duke City Championship Wrestling tonight at the historic El Rey Theater.
I'm grateful. I appreciate that. This was a great episode, man, and I appreciate you letting me poke at your mind a bit. Get your insight on several things. It is a 1-year anniversary or a 12-month anniversary, whatever, and it calls for some reflection to it, and we appreciate you sharing your thoughts on an insight on that. Thank you so much for that.
We have to wrap this one up, and this is what we were going over. Final word, Saleh Taylor.
I cannot thank enough our fans, our crew, our amazing professional wrestlers, everyone that's trusted us with their time, with their energy, with their bodies. I cannot thank you enough for it's my honor to share that building with y'all. This is me, Saleh, this is shoot me. So on the level, I cannot thank y'all enough. I'm honored to share time with y'all, but know that when we punch in, when we clock in on Saturday, I hate every single one of y'all, and it's a good day.
That's so stupid. For Saleh Taylor, for myself, Fred Slow. Good job, everyone. GG.